And welcome back to Deathbattle, winner take all tournament semifinal match. Well, actually, no, we're the quarterfinals. I take that back. Quarterfinal match. It's down to the wire, folks. Now, these next four fights, and we only got four fights this time around. Next time it's going to, oh, wait, four? Yeah, four fights. And then it's only going to be two, and then we'll have the final one. These next four fights, I feel like are pretty self-explanatory if you know the characters well enough. But then again, I'm not saying I know them well enough. Maybe my opinion is wrong. It is still just my opinion. Everything on every video I ever do is just my opinion. But still. So, as you can see, we have Android 18 versus Darkseid, The Mask versus Beerus, Spawn versus Vegeta, and Flash versus Broly. So let's get into this now. Darkseid versus Android 18. To me, this is a pretty self-explanatory one. Darkseid wins this fight. 18 is strong. 18 is probably at minimum a solar system buster. Maybe. You know, maybe. I might actually take that back a little bit. Because I don't know if she grew stronger than Perfect Cell during the time of Super. I don't think she did. And we know Cell is a solar system buster. But she's definitely a planet buster, 100%. Maybe low solar system, like she could probably blow up a star if she really wanted to. So in that sense, maybe she's a solar system buster, but that really doesn't matter as Darkseid is a universal level threat. Like 18 is not a universal level threat. Darkseid alone, just his avatar, is physically far more powerful than her. His Omega Beams, Android 18 is actually fast enough to dodge the Omega Beams. All the Z fighters, once you get into like Android level power levels and above, can move basically at light speed and above beyond that. So honestly, most of the Z fighters are actually capable of dodging his Omega Beams without too many problems. And on the fact that in the game she can absorb energy, it's very possible that she could absorb the energy from the Omega Beams to some degree. But it doesn't really matter as he also has telepathy. I believe he is capable of some levels of magic, but physical strength-wise, he's someone who can go toe-to-toe with Superman, which she is not that level. Durability-wise, it's on the same spectrum. And all of this is just the avatar he makes. His real form exists in, I believe, Fourth World. And if his real body were to enter the universe, it would destroy the universe. His body is literally capable of he destroys the universe just by existing. And if it somehow does go to her fighting his real form, she doesn't really have any method of destroying his real form, unfortunately. She's nowhere near powerful enough for that. And he could just Omega Sanction her and call it quits. Yeah. Darkseid wins that fight, no problem. Beerus versus the Mask. So I've seen this one get brought up a lot in the community forum, if you will. When I post the actual matchups in the community tag, people comment and people are asking, how's Beerus going to beat the Mask? And people keep bringing it up, and how I have to bring it up. The Mask versus Beerus. Beerus wins that fight 100%. Why? Because I've been seeing he's like Beerus, he's got Toon Force and all that stuff. Toon Force can't beat Toon Force and all that. It's like, yeah, you can. Aurelia is a gag character. Aurelia has Toon Force. And Beerus just flat out beats her. Goku even says, yeah, no, that stuff doesn't work on Beerus. That's the level of power Beerus is. The Mask is nothing more than a slightly more hyperized, varied version of... Yes, he is also he's got Toon Force, but he's a gag character as well. And gag characters do not work against Beerus. Don't get me wrong, Mask would probably be all wacky and put up a fight, but ultimately Beerus is like, you're annoying. Okay! And the Mask is like, what? You think it's gonna stop? What's going on? What? And we should just say, yes, I'm sorry, but those type of abilities don't work on Lord Beerus. The Mask just disappears. The Mask itself is allegedly indestructible, but that's only going so far in terms of, what that actually means. So, unfortunately, because we had the Aurelia, if we did not have the Aurelia feat, the Mask might have actually beaten Beerus. But the fact of the matter that we had an actual feat to tell us that gag characters don't work on Beerus tells us the Mask would lose. So, unfortunately, that one goes to Beerus for all you Mask fans. Sorry. Spawn versus Vegeta. Now, in terms of actual power-wise, if we were to actually go with, like, God Spawn or Devil Spawn, Spawn would actually probably be stronger. But we're not. Because he actually gave up those powers. Vegeta likewise doesn't actually have much that could theoretically. Spawn is only really capable of being killed, at least in his universe, by decapitations / holy weapons. That being, he's got in his level of his level of variability. Now, think words here. What's the word? His variety in his arsenal, it does outweigh Vegeta's by quite a bit. However, if we are just looking at them as they are in their normal series, Beerus is Spawn is a Hell Spawn, Vegeta as Super Saiyan Blue evolution. Screw that. I call it Royal Blue. Makes more sense. Vegeta is the stronger individual. Vegeta, power-wise, could obliterate Spawn. Now, Spawn can feed off some of Vegeta's sin, because Vegeta doesn't, even despite the fact he's a good person now at this point, does not have a squeaky clean past. He's got a lot of sin to feed off of, quite frankly. But it really still comes down to the fact that Spawn can, do some level of matter manipulation, molecular manipulation, telekinesis, possession, all that. But possession and mind control aren't going to work on Vegeta, as we saw with Babidi. He let himself get possessed, and that ultimately did not work in Babidi's favor. His power is that on a universal level, and it's divine ki. Even though Spawn can, in his own universe, can only be defeated by divine, like holy items and decapitation, that's his own universe. In theory, because, he's got divine energy, not necessarily holy, but divine power, because of his god ki. He could just incinerate Spawn, and that, in theory, should be enough to put him down. Even if it's not, there is only so much sin he can feed off of Vegeta, especially because Vegeta has has turned his life around and become a good individual. So, I think it'd be a long, drawn-out fight because of Spawn's regenerative capabilities, recovery capabilities, and vast multitude of abilities. But I do think Vegeta takes the win ultimately. Last but not least, we have Broly versus the Flash. And this one was actually tough. I'm like, okay, so the Flash, no doubt the Flash is faster than Broly. And there's no way I'm going to argue against that. As much as I love like characters like Broly and Beerus, like, no. The Flash is Flash. The Flash is faster. But the question isn't about speed. That's a given. The question is can the Flash beat him? Is like the Flash capable of beating him? He can vibrate at higher dimensional levels to avoid attack, sure. He can, hit with a mass infinite punch, but let's be honest, Broly was capable of breaking reality and surviving hits from Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, who was even stronger than him at that point, making him a reality breaker as well. Now, the Flash has broken reality at the same time, but let's not mince words. Broly hitting that level of power, yeah, he can survive a mass infinite punch, no freaking doubt. So it comes down to the question of who's gonna outlast who in this fight. Especially if Broly's already breaking reality, that's actually going to pose a problem with the Flash, even though he can break reality too. If reality's already breaking, then there's only so much he can do. Like, what is he going to do? Break reality even beyond that? He could theoretically go to the end of reality and just wait out Broly, but if Broly's already breaking reality, how much... It's a problem, because we know for a fact that Broly can break reality. In fact, he can probably break reality multiple times over. Like we saw in the death battle with the Hulk, is that he could probably break reality multiple times over. We know the Flash can kind of do the same, but the Flash needs to... but both these guys need to build up to that, and... One is dealing with speed, the other is dealing with just straight power. The Flash knows that he's got to put Broly down. Now, the Flash doesn't know that Broly will just tire himself out after a while, so he's got to come in and try to finish him off with the final blow. So he tries to go so he maybe tries to go through with the past and try to stop Broly. Kind of like what he did in the fight with Sonic, is that he went back to an earlier point in the fight and killed Sonic. But the fact that Broly's constantly breaking reality on that... Broly's not breaking reality the same way that Archie Sonic was breaking reality. Because Archie Sonic essentially has wish powers. That's what it is. That's how he breaks reality. No, Broly's power is literally just shattering reality. So I don't know if the time line to jump, if going back in time is an effective method against someone who's just constantly breaking reality with their sheer power. So I had to think long and hard on this. I'm like, okay, there's ways Flash could win, but there's ways Broly wins. Who gets the majority in this fight? And for me, it's the person who can take more damage. Because even with Broly in lower forms, he can still take a God knows amount of damage. Which means he could probably still take a mass infinite punch. Maybe not in base form, but the fact that he's also shattering reality counters, I think, a certain amount of Flash's ability to backtrack in time. Because he's already shattering reality as it is, which includes time. So that I think counteracts a little bit of that to some degree. So I don't know if Flash can get to him in base form. I lean ultimately towards Broly, only because, again, the nature of the fight is very different than what we got in the Archie versus Sonic fight. While Barry can break reality, sure, it does take build-up, whereas Broly's just sheer power upon powering up did that. And he did that before he even hit Super Saiyan Berserk. Like, he did that before he even hit Legendary Super Saiyan. That's the thing. He did that as standard Super Saiyan, which isn't even standard Super Saiyan when you realize he went Super Saiyan on top of his Rage form, on top of his Akari form. So it's actually a Super Saiyan Akari form he has. Which is why it's so beast. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack from Flash fans. I'm pretty certain. Maybe not a lot, but I know some Flash fans are going to get on my case for it. I lean towards Broly in this fight. This is a close one, though. This is like I can totally see the argument for Flash. But for me, I think the argument's the fact that Broly already breaks reality before even going into Super Saiyan Berserk, as it's actually known as, the legendary form. The fact that he breaks it beforehand, the fact that he can tank hits from basically even stronger individuals from like Super Saiyan Gogeta and Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta. The fact that he's already breaking reality, which is going to factor into Flash's breaking reality. And the fact that he can also just attack from range, energy blasts, all that. I think gives him the win in this fight. The only thing Flash really, the Flash is faster, no doubt. I'm not going to argue that point at all. Like, I doubt there are many individuals who could legitimately... He's beaten teleporters in speed, for God's sake. How does that work? He's outraced death and made death die. So Broly takes the win. Broly takes the win, in my opinion, which I don't have the actual bracket up right now, but that means the final two fights are Vegeta versus Broly, Darkseid versus Beerus, and Vegeta versus Broly. So keep your eyes out for those, folks. That will be the semifinals next week. And ultimately, we'll finish up the Death Battle Winners Tournament next week, because there's no point in me doing a final match. I won't title it round 6 as it were. I'll title it semifinals and finals. That's what I'll title it, because there's no point in me doing a separate video on the finals at that point. So ultimately, that's what I think of the last 4 matches. Join us next week for the finale of the Winners Take All tournament. I'll probably take a week off after that, although they're returning in March, so maybe I shouldn't. Yeah, honestly, if they're returning in March, I should probably just do the losers tournament after that. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Hit that bell for notifications. I've got I have a Star Wars video I'm going to do, and I have the WandaVision review, episode 6. I haven't gotten to that yet, unfortunately. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you folks next time. Later.